I love it.
Another Wasserman bop.
Yep.
You can't tell me that you would sit there and hear those guitars sounding just like a engine going. If that doesn't get you revved up, I don't know what will.
And there you go. There's the Leo pun. There it is. For the longest time, I didn't know they were saying drive 4 on the floor. And I don't know what that means. Are you saying keep all 4 of your tires on the ground? Like,
well, I mean, if you're gonna drive 4-wheel drive, the drive pedals on the floor. I don't know about cars. This is outside my wheelhouse. I just break cars.
Hey,
I don't know much
pun.
about fixing them.
I loved the theme song for this. It was phenomenal. It was more phenomenal. See, I can do it too. Even though it wasn't a pun, it was just a word.
Alpha, Rita's escaped. Recruit me a podcast with attitude. Ranger Rabble, we need you. Leo V, Kyle D, may the power protect you. It's morphin' time.
Go, go. Ranger Rabble. Go, go. Ranger Rabble. Rabble, Ranger Rabble.
What's going on, nerds? Welcome to episode 13 of Ranger Rabble. Yeah, 13, lucky number 13. And we are talking about Power Rangers Turbo, the third season in the Power Rangers series. I'm Kyle D, and as always, on the other side,
I'm Leo V. This season was, well, let's just say, turbotastic. And if that phrase sounds sketchy, well, so was this season.
it was a season of moments of what the actual fuck. That was pretty cool, but also what the fuck.
They were going to have a hard time with this one because the Sentai that it was based off of, Gekisu Sentai Car Ranger, was essentially made as a spoof season, like a parody season. They threw in a lot of like the regular superhero tropes, and like to them it was more of a jokey kind of season. So to take something that was hokey and jokey and then try to make that into a serious season was not gonna work out visually, because you have such overly cheesy and corny things happening at times where it doesn't necessarily play out with the seriousness that Power Rangers was trying for.
And this season also comes our pilot episode of the season was actually the Turbo movie.
Turbo, a Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, that's the first and only time they led with a pilot that kind of told you the story, and by episode 1, all right, cool, like we expect you've seen this movie and we'll kind of fill you in along the way.
It was the movie was fantastic. Everybody talks so much garbage about that movie. I loved the Turbo movie. It was so bad that it was good. But leading into this season, I think it did a great job of telling the story. Apparently Malagor is the big bad for that, and he gets reused in space as Dark Spectre.
He sure does.
Did he evolve? Is that what happens? Is he like a Pokemon?
You know, he had a twin brother out there somewhere.
There's a simple explanation for that.
And Leo gets the first point for using that in the stream.
So, like we said, this season takes place right after Zeo, and this was an interesting season as far as there's always some fun behind the scenes stuff to learn as you get older. So this one was interesting to find out that they decided to do a random team switch in the middle, and not really tell the other actors that they were being replaced. So when it came to like stuff was being they were like, we're done. Oh, that's it. Like you can kind of see on Adam's face in the episode where they change over powers that he's going through some actual sadness. I want to say Nakia Buress also in the new HBO behind the scenes documentary that they did about the Power Rangers brought up the fact that she was just replaced and like she wasn't expecting it. It wasn't like there was conversations about it. It was Saban just going with the okay, we'll just change over teams.
See, I did not know any of that. That is actually the first time I'm hearing that. That's awful.
So it's interesting to rewatch it now knowing that, because once you get to that mid season with the cast change, it kind of just goes, oh, well, this is new.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they did with Mighty Morphin when we changed over 3 Rangers. It was abrupt and they made it make sense in the show, but behind the scenes there's always that extra level of shitty Saban spiciness. Before we get started, if you guys are new here to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, because let's be honest, the algorithm only pushes out videos if you tell it that you like it.
Exactly.
So give it that thumbs up.
One of the things I didn't really like about this season was replacing Rocky.
I'm the new Blue Ranger.
What are you talking about?
So early.
So early.
Like in the movie, he broke his back. Is that what happened?
He stepped on a crack and broke his back.
He was fighting in some like karate competition and he did a move and flew out of the ring and didn't bump it right. Like, brother, you're a Power Ranger. How are you not going to take that bump?
Right, I mean, there's got to be some pads on the floor or something.
Yeah, but no, he breaks his back and little Justin takes over. Personal opinion, not a fan of Blake Foster.
Here's my thing with Justin. As a kid, I was very much jealous that like a kid gets to be a Power Ranger. So like in that portrayal of it, I don't mind it. The character of Justin itself is not necessarily written great, but I can't necessarily blame the acting for that. The acting was never so bad that I had to be like, Justin.
Yeah.
But like it always was kind of confusing that if you were going to have a Kid Ranger, just make him Kid Ranger sized, and the weird CG growing and it's still having like baby Justin voice. It just kind of, the more you think about it now, just going, okay. Like genetically, his body is just going through these weird like stretches, and like, all right, cool. I'm infused with power. It's fine. Advanced puberty, my ass.
There's a simple explanation for that.
Evil endeavors.
To start off this season, we get introduced to our big bad, Miss Dvattox, the Galactic Space Pirate Queen. What?
There's a part of me that wants to say she could pilot my submarine, but
would.
She just yelled too much, so it was. She
And
was a very yelly villain. Going back to kind of Rita and how she was just very screechy sometimes in her delivery.
And she was replaced halfway through the season, wasn't she, by another actress?
Yes, because Hilary Shepard was pregnant when they cast her. So she did the first half of the season, went out on maternity, and then came back.
Yes, I like Dvattox. Again, the yelling could have done without the yelling, and the acting was, well, devious. See what they did there? Yeah. But she also has her cronies. She has Elgar. I love Elgar.
He is a monkey with a cone head. He is a conehead monkey, and you can't change my mind. He just
And-
kind of he just does this weird walk, and he.
And you know what's funny too? In the Japanese footage they use for the Zio 3-part beginning, when he's sitting in the car and he's yelling, it is the funniest thing. I don't know why, but dude, I was laughing so hard rewatching it today, and I was like, "This is great. This is so." You can clearly tell this is Japanese footage.
The Japanese footage is heavily Japanese. You can definitely tell the Sentai footage from the American footage
Oh, yeah.
more
Oh yeah.
so noticeably. And it was like, oh, this just took a visual shift from what I was just looking at.
Yes. We also, like I said, we had Malagor, but I only honestly remember seeing him in the beginning in the movie.
Yeah, he doesn't really come back until in space. So
Yeah, he evolves into Dark Spectre. We have Rygog, who is this giant blue washing machine. Who he's the Goldar of this season, because he has the same "Oh, I'm Rygog"
Whatever you need, Dvattox, I'm always at your disposal.
kind of voice.
Yeah.
I loved him. I loved him and Elgar. Elgar was just like the pure comedy relief.
About me! Anti-Dvattox, what about me? All right.
That, like, no matter what he did, he thought, I'm doing great. And then the next thing you know, that was a good Elgar. That was kind of a good Elgar. Ooh. He thinks he's doing good, and then the next thing you know, boom. Fail. Just blows up in his face. But Rygog was cool. Rygog had a pretty solid setup. We also had Porto, who was the Finster. And he talks like this. Hello, my name is Porto. Yes. My cheeks are pulled apart.
And they call him Porto because his face is a porthole. So it's Porto. Get it?
There's a simple explanation for
Yeah, uncreative.
that. And then the putties for this season are called Piranhatrons. I liked the Piranhatrons, dude. Piranhatrons were cool. They were cool, man. And the entrance that they all made, like whatever Dvattox and Chum was in this like purple and blue like cocoon of water, and they would always fall. Why were they always falling?
Because water falls. Don't go chasing Piranhatrons.
Hey, you'll end up finding the Turbo Power Rangers.
I don't know if this was much of a change from the previous seasons because there was always a lot of explosions, but Dvattox used a lot of bombs throughout the season. She was always planting bombs that were going to explode. That was most of her MO for the season was just, I'ma blow shit up.
I mean, for fuck's sake, she used torpedoes to grow her monsters.
Right?
We also had General Havoc, who was Dvattox's brother.
Okay, I do remember him.
Yeah, he led her to the space base.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And the Shadow Rangers.
The Shadow Rangers. Every season's got to have some sort of evil ranger or their own version of the Rangers. And these Shadow Rangers were made shadows. So without light, you could not have the shadows. So that's how they were defeated.
Ah, you think the darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the dark.
I was born in it, like a cute little baby in a crib. Any other baddies?
Those were the only ones of true importance, in my opinion, aside from just the random monsters that were made. But like I said, I do feel that Rygog was definitely the more what's the word I'm looking for? Not serious, but he was more of the right hand man than Elgar was. Elgar was his right hand because he was Dvattox's nephew.
Yeah, Rygog was more intimidating, so he gave that intimidation factor. So fighting against our forces of evil, obviously we have the Turbo Rangers, but Zordon and Alpha don't stick around for this season.
More phenomenal mentor.
This is the departure of everyone's favorite blue-headed Jesus from the last. They call it 4 seasons of Power Rangers, but I'll call it 2 seasons, Mighty Morphin and Zeo.
Said blue-headed Jesus.
Well, yeah. I mean, with words like "May the power protect you," how can you say that's not Jesus-like?
No, I get it.
May the power protect you, and also with you. We lift you up to the Zord.
Let us proclaim the mystery of the morphing grid. Okay, we're not. Wow. Nope, we're not doing that. Okay, we're moving back on. So yeah, so it was Zordon and Alpha 5 depart for Eltar.
With Larago, the little goblin.
Dude, I call him Monkey Boy. I don't call him Larago. I call him Monkey Boy.
He's a monkey
because no
gremlin.
one can ever remember the name Monk Larago. But they depart, and we get Demetria and Alpha 6. And for some reason, Dvattox just does not like Demetria.
At all. And it's kind of implied that they know of each other. And they're played by the same actress, so it's implied even more so that they're sisters. So, like,
that
twins
I think they're sisters
got off to the wrong foot when they were growing up and now are dead set on taking over and saving the same planet.
I think they're sisters.
Yeah, very heavily implied.
Convinced.
Let us know in the comments if you think we are wrong, even though you'd need to give me some strong evidence to suggest that. But let us know in the comments.
So with the changing of them, they still have the same.
Yo! Don't forget about my guy Alpha Sixenstein. He's gonna talk like this and shit for a whole fucking season. Yo!
Yo! Look, she ain't Zordon. And you don't have a lot of time, so you better get with the program, Slick.
Yo! Yeah, I didn't understand that in the slightest bit.
I guess they needed something that was 3 syllables and catchy enough, like I, where I guess in the late 90s, you could say that yo was something being said by all the hip and happening dudes and dudettes out there in the
word
to your mother or your father. We don't discriminate here.
For shizzle.
Home sweet headquarters.
So the command center basically stays the same as it was in Zeo, just not as dark anymore like Zeo was. It's more lit up, and the Mighty Morphin suits are no longer in the tubes. Those are just colored tubes now, but those are the turbo tubes.
Turbo tubes!
Yes, those are the turbo tubes we see later on in the season, which they can slide down and be merry and all that stuff. I liked lightening up the command center. I loved the Zeo one. Zeo one was beautiful. It was dark, but that darkness also fit the season.
Yeah, the power chamber definitely needed to be a little bit brighter for this season. And if I'm not mistaken, they changed the layout a little bit too. So they kind of
Yes.
moved some stuff around, and they don't have the viewing globe anymore. It's more of a like monitor screen. So it basically took a little step into the next generation of technology
Yes. I
for the most
liked it.
part.
I thought it was cool. I Demetria was cool. Like, and she's from the planet Inquisitress, which I guess she means she can only speak in questions.
Yeah, they don't ever talk much about Inquirus, and it makes for an interesting planet because I appreciate that you can only, as a mentor, only asking questions makes your team have to rely on themselves to find the answers. You're not just giving them the answers whenever they need it. So that part was interesting from a mentor dynamic. But some of the things she would say just to make what they're asking a question, some of them were a little silly.
I like that she was actually an upper half of her body and not just a floating head.
Yes, she could actually survive outside of the tube. She was more so in the tube just to ease the transition between mentors for the Rangers because they were so used to having, a person in a tube. If they had someone who was just walking around with them, that might have made moving to these new powers slightly harder.
Yes.
Even though they're uh, at this point not teenagers anymore because they're getting into like high school graduation. That's like the first couple episodes of this
Yes.
season. So like they're for the first time they are still technically teenagers with attitudes, but they are adults.
With depression.
Go power
Now,
therapy.
I don't think this question's ever answered, but why is Tommy not graduating with them? Did he graduate already?
I want to say there was something going on with his uncle's racetrack. So like he kind of had a summer job over there just to kind of put in the car aspect of the show. You can't just give them cars and then just be like, I've never driven a car in my life. I'm in Los Angeles. I take the bus.
But apparently Tommy's the next Dale Earnhardt because he keeps shading time off of his runs and everything. So that's pretty cool. I think it was unnecessary, if you want the honest truth.
There's a couple of things that in this season that are unnecessary. Um, I'm just gonna say it now. You didn't need to bake your Rangers into a pizza.
Oh God, we're already getting into this. Let's do it. Let's dive in.
You are lucky that back in the 90s they were able to get away with saying,
"We're here to toss your salad."
Yep, that did happen. That did, in fact, happen.
So with our new turbo powers, we clearly have new Zords and weapons that go with it.
Awesome armory.
So let's start with the weapons because there was more weapons than I remember there being, or like at least little accoutrements that they had to play
Wasn't there
with.
like a car, like it was a gun, but it was a black car with the turbo thing in the front, the spool in the front, and it flew in, and then it turned into a gun. The wings came down.
That is the turbine laser.
Yes, I had that toy when I was a kid, and it was dope. You pulled the trigger, and the sound effects went off, and then the turbo spool would go.
Although as a flying thing, I don't know where it fits into the car aspect of the Rangers, but I guess turbines, engines, I guess engines get put in both cars and planes, so it fits.
There's a simple explanation for that.
Each Ranger has their auto blasters, which are their It's their little side pistols. Those combined with the Turbo Navigator computers, which they use to search for all of Dvattox's detonators, because that bitch just likes to blow shit up. Then we have all of their individual weapons, which, when they call on their weapons, it rolls in on this small little car, and their weapons all make up the different pieces of the car minus the wheels. So, like, they all just kind of like take their piece off of this little baby
Gotcha.
go-kart looking thing. So, you have the pink bow and arrow, which is the Windfire. The Yellow Ranger has the Star Chargers, which are like brass knuckles. The Blue Ranger has hand blasters. The Green Ranger has the Thunder Cannon, and the Red Ranger has the Lightning Sword.
Why does the Red Ranger always get the sword?
You know, it's very similar because I feel like in Zeo, well, no, they didn't have like blasters. They were more like different shapes. But yeah, the but Red got a sword in that one too. So Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, all had red swords.
Yeah, Space had it too. He had the
Oh,
spiral
he did have the
sword.
Spiral Saber. That's right. That's 4 of them.
Yeah.
So the weapons would come together to make the Turbo Ram, the robotic arsenal mobilizer, which was basically all the weapons combined into a cannon on the wheels that the thing came in on, just on like an elevated platform. Then, like we talked about, you had the turbine laser, which would fly in, and the wings would swoosh down into a cannon. And then they also had the turbo carts, which were little baby go-karts that they would drive around in. Not to mention we had some extra rangers that joined us this season. So the Blue Centurion had the Centurion Synergizer, which was a blaster and could also be a baton. And yeah, and he also had a Centurion cycle, so he had a little
Which was his Megazord.
uh
He had the car. Remember the car?
but yeah, that was his Zord. The Robo
Yeah.
cycle was his Zord, but he had a motorcycle that he would travel around on, because every cop needs a motorcycle.
I loved the Blue Centurion, and I remember they made him into an action figure, and I made my mom get it for me. I was like, I want that Blue Centurion, and like when I pulled it out of the packaging, like looking at all the things, like the red lights on the shoulders were see through, so when you put a light behind it, they would turn red. Oh man, fully articulated, everything like that. My buddy had the little, I call it his morpher, but it wasn't his morpher. It was his little thing that with the 3 colored lights on it, the red, yellow, and
Oh yeah.
he had that too, and the Zord. But no, Blue Centurion was super dope. But not just Centurion, we also got my boy, the Phantom Ranger.
This was a fun new addition to the team. We'll talk about him a little bit more when we get into the Rangers, though.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of Zords to get into. I was not expecting there to be as many.
Mecha Madness!
I remember 2 sets. I remember the regular Turbo Megazord, and then the Rescue Megazord.
A few moments later.
Oh look, numbers.
We have our basic Turbo Zords. So you have the pink Wind Chaser, green is Desert Thunder, yellow is Dune Star, blue is the Mountain Blaster, and red is the Red Lightning. So each one of them is their own little individual car, comes together, make Car Megazord. Pretty basic. Can't complain too much about that. Blue Centurion's got his Robo Racer, so he's got a car mode and a battle mode for that. And then midway-ish into the season, we are introduced to Lightning Cruiser and Storm Blaster, which is an additional red and blue car Zords. Lightning Cruiser is like a car and a jet, so it can drive and fly. And Stormblaster is a Jeep with like all kinds of cannons and shit on it. It's got like a really powerful winch in case you need to carry stuff. And then we have the Rescue Megazord, which contains the red Lightning Fire Tamer Rescue Zord, the blue Siren Blaster Rescue Zord, the green Thunder Loader Rescue Zord, the yellow Star Racer Rescue Zord, and the pink Wind Rescue Zord, as well as the Phantom Ranger had his Artillatron, and Artillatron could go into warrior mode. And then, of course, the Rescue Megazord could combine with the Lightning Cruiser and Storm Blaster to make the Rescue Turbo Megazord, because something happened where certain pieces of the Turbo Megazord were unusable, so they were replaced with Lightning Cruiser and Storm Blaster. And then the Rescue Megazord with artillery power was the Rescue Megazord and the Phantom Rangers Zords all combined together. So overall, not a terrible 2 Megazords, but it feels like there's just a lot of unnecessary pieces. I mean, I get the need to upgrade your Megazord, but by upgrading your Megazord to adding a whole separate Megazord sometimes just seems like overkill.
Yeah. I did like the Rescue Megazord. The Rescue Megazord was sick.
Don't get me wrong, the Rescue Megazord in artillery mode with fucking the Artillatron on there is badass looking, for sure. Do not want to get on the wrong end of that.
The Golden Morpher. Golden Morpher for this season, and you told me you were going to make me choose.
Well, let's talk about all the Rangers first, and then we'll give out the Golden Morpher.
Okay.
So, obviously, we started the season. We had already lost Rocky, and he was replaced by Justin. So, then midway through, Tommy, Cat, Adam, and Tanya all left, and TJ, Cassie, Ashley, and Carlos were all brought in as their replacements. And it was really cool to see the Rangers pick their own replacements this time.
Yeah. That was actually solid.
It at least built up from a character perspective that these kids had been Rangers for long enough that they understand the things to look for and what it takes for the next people stepping up into their shoes.
Agreed. I like TJ as the leader.
Hell yeah.
Very, very Tommy-esque, very no nonsense. I'm going to get this job done. We're going to get these guys home safe mentality. And phenomenal actor as well. Really,
Yeah.
he made you believe he was the leader of the team.
And they called it puppy love. Oh, I guess they'll never know.
Cassie was a great addition to the team as well. She was kind of quiet at first, but I enjoyed that they at least brought her on a decent character arc from Turbo into In Space.
In Space.
Oh, yeah, In Space and Lost Galaxy.
Oh, that's right. Wait. Oh, yeah, she was in Lost Galaxy. That's right. I forgot about that.
And was supposed to be in more of Lost Galaxy. But Haim Saban was a douchebag and wouldn't pay her the same as everyone else. Carlos was also, it took me a second to warm up to Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. It was nothing against him personally, but Adam was, as much as Adam was the background ranger, not really saying or doing much, I still enjoyed him. So it was not ever it never felt wrong to have him on screen, but when he wasn't, it was felt.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as the season goes on, we get the Blue Centurion and the Phantom Ranger joining our little team.
I love the Phantom Ranger, man. I don't know why. I think it's the suit. I really think it's just the suit they gave him.
And it was American done too, because it wasn't in the Sentai. And his like power ruby that he uses to, I'm not sure if that's where he gets his like invisibility power, or if it's just because he's from a different planet time kind of thing.
And
So
they never really tell you where he's from or who he is.
very little is known with him, and he is not seen or mentioned again until once a ranger, always a ranger. He was one of the rangers that Rita kidnapped in like little toy form and was using to power up her machine.
Actually, he was before that. He was at the end of In Space. Him and Blue Centurion were on Eltar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were fighting the Machine Empire
on Eltar. Yep.
Yeah. And then I don't think they brought him back for the legendary battle.
Him and Centurion were not there, no.
Yeah, because even when they did the like all the team roll calls for that, I don't remember seeing either of them being present for that. Now, if we were to give our Golden Morpher out for this season, who are we going with?
The Golden Morpher goes to Phantom. Dude can turn invisible. Use that to his He camouflages himself. Everything. Willing to help the Rangers without even actually knowing who they are. Like, not realize. He realizes that, okay, there's another group of people who wear suits that stop crime. But, like, I'm telling you, I feel like he's connected to the morphing grid somehow. And I'm telling you, it's Billy. I'm putting it down. That's Billy. But I loved his story arc. I loved his suit. I loved everything about the Phantom Ranger. I humbly give the Golden Morpher to Phantom, and it was almost between the Phantom and the Centurion.
It's a tough one.
I can say that the not Gold Morpher goes to the pizza episode.
You know, I would give my runner up my silver morpher, if you will, to Red Ranger.
Yes.
I think TJ definitely stepped up into that leadership role, and he had a brand new team that he had to kind of get to know and figure out. And at least with, Tommy, they had all very much known each other for a while. They had gotten used to Tommy's leadership. So this was a nice change to see somebody else take up the red mantle and do a very, very fine job.
This season was great. It's a love-hate season, though. Like, phenomenal storytelling, but some of the monsters, some of the storylines, some of the episodes were just like, eh.
The first half of the season felt like it definitely fell into a lot of the same cookie cutter Mighty Morphin episodes.
Yep.
Like, somebody's got a small problem, and now that one problem is going to be an entire episode's worth of shenanigans. And, like, I get it, don't change too much of what makes Power Rangers Power Rangers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, grow a little bit where it doesn't become cheapen. It cheapens what it was.
Yeah.
At this point, in the series of Power Rangers, the ratings for Turbo were not that great.
Yeah.
Which is why when this season ended, they had kind of had the idea to wrap up the series altogether at the end of In Space. So they were very much building out that last season's story with Zordon getting kidnapped from Eltar and, Demetria going to help them.
Yeah.
The command center exploding because, of course, Dvattox had to plant bombs in the power chamber. So then all of them jumping into a spaceship and going to space, and Justin's dad finally loving him because he was worth love the whole time. I love you, Dad. My job's gonna be here with you in Angel Grove, son. I'll be here with you all the time now.
Good.
Oh, Papa. But yeah, this season definitely had its ups and downs. If I had to rank this season, it would be a solid 5. I'm gonna go right down the middle with it.
I would say 5. 5 out of 10. As dumb as it sounds to me I'm a Tommy mark. Like, losing Tommy was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, love TJ, love what he did as Red Ranger. But losing Tommy sucked.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the other end of why the team ended up switching was because Saban was also telling Tommy and Kat that they couldn't go off and do like other things. So they were like wanting to go off and do other projects, and Saban was like, "Nah, y'all should stay here."
Gotcha.
So that, I think, being the other end of it, why JDF ended up leaving and then not coming back until Forever Red.
With the spiky haircut.
Oh, that terrible spiky haircut.
And we forgot to talk about one major thing that happened in the beginning of this season. Bulk and Skull being turned into monkeys.
We go swimming? Would you guys be quiet?
For those of you wondering why I'm laughing so hard, oh God, that is my favorite line from the Turbo movie, because there's no reason for it
at all.
But the fact that you knew where I was going with it revolved around Bulk and Skull is that we've been friends for a very long time, guys.
Too long at this point.
But why the hell did they turn Bulk and Skull into monkeys?
They really took Bulk and Skull on an interesting turn. And there was some behind the scenes reasoning as to why they did that. So Bulk and Skull were on screen less this season because there was going to be a Bulk and Skull spin-off show. Like, they were going to get their own little series that they had been kind of filming a little bit for, or at least like they weren't on set for Turbo, because the idea was that they were going to be moving forward with this other project with Bulk and Skull. So that ended up not happening. So they ended up doing the monkey thing and all of the voiceover because they were invisible, and eventually no, Skull did not come back for In Space. It was only no, Skull was back for In Space. He didn't come back for Lost Galaxy.
Yes. I liked Turbo. Certain aspects I did not. But I think a 5 out of 10 is a solid.
Solid, yeah.
Solid, good, the love angle with Cassie and Phantom was weird. Like,
yeah, she didn't necessarily need to be falling for an alien, but I don't necessarily mind, I guess, because Billy had already done it.
Guys, before we get to the end of this episode, we have something fun to tell you, and I did not tell Leo we were doing this, so this is a surprise for him.
Yeah, we have something fun to tell you.
I went out and I designed the official Ranger Rabble t-shirt for this YouTube podcast.
Yes,
it is available through my fourth wall store with the company that my wife and I run, 732 Sweet Threads. We'll put the link in the bio. We'll put the link on the screen, and we'll even put some pictures of the logo on the screen, too, right over here. It's the Mighty Morphin logo, but it says Ranger Rabble with Kyle D and Leo V, and it comes in all the colors of the Rangers. But yeah, guys, go give that a look. We're putting it out there. And then at the end of the summer, we might have another surprise for you. But if you guys like what you saw here today, like, subscribe, follow us on here. Check us out on all social media. We got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Next season we are doing, I'm drawing a blank.
Next episode we are doing Super Mega Force.
Oh, God.
I have mixed feelings on this one because the American version sucked.
That's so
but the
bad.
Super Sentai was so good.
The American version.
It was so fucking good, dude. If we had gotten the full pirate season the way it was supposed to, it would have been so fucking good. But until then, we will catch you guys on the next episode of Ranger Rabble here on Nerd Daddy Productions. Until then, I'm Leo V.
I'm Kyle D. And well, let's do it.
I think it's time to
shift into turbo. Ha! 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 Cha! Ah! Later.
Later.